Well, I promise you an update on Monday. This is Bank Holiday Monday. The body is off, or the rear tub is off. I did start to video it and try to do time lapses and various other things, but I realised it was taking me so long to set the tripod up and try and get the angles right that I was actually not doing the job. So I gave up. Thought I'd just do a quick update video afterwards. So yeah, the body is off. It came off fine. I've taken a couple of little videos of me undoing rusty bolts and nuts and bolts underneath, which I'll attach to this video somehow. I'll blend them in, figure out how to do that. But yeah, so good news is the chassis is okay. The fuel tank is off. That's there, and I was really worried about the fuel tank because I don't think it's an original, and it looks on first appearance to be really rusty and horrible, but actually it's okay. And this is a guard, a thick sheet steel guard which fits underneath that kind of retains the fuel tank basically in place. And that is actually, although it looks really rusty, is actually absolutely fine. It will clean up. It will clean up well because a new fuel tank is £1,000 from Land Rover. Unless you want a crappy aftermarket one, they're about £250. So yeah, I don't know if it's an aftermarket one or not, but it's okay. It fits. It holds fuel and it's clean inside. So good news. The tank is okay. Rear cross member is not so okay. There's some work to be done here. So I think I'm not sure if it's had a replacement ends in the army maybe, or if it's been done afterwards. Not sure, but basically you can see here how this is lifted up. This is what's left of the original rear cross member, and it's had one effectively like a new piece. It's difficult to see, but a new piece slotted in there on both sides, which is great. Apart from it's not very well done. It's been bolted on. See how there's bolts here? Bolts. It's double skinned. It's asking for corrosion. It's not been finished properly. It's all a bit Heath Robinson, so that needs sorting. It's got these strengthening bars here. I don't know. I don't know if they're Land Rover or not, but this welding on the chassis there that holds them onto the chassis is definitely not Land Rover. That's the same both sides. These tabs here are factory. They're where they should be. This one is just a piece of metal that someone's cut really, really badly, really awkwardly, probably with a hacksaw, and just made a square plate and bolted it to this piece of cross member or piece of girder or whatever it was. Um, so yeah, there's some work to be done there. See down here, look, it's not even attached. We have done a little bit of rudimentary welding to try and make that better, but it needs more work done basically. And again, this brace piece here is welded on with the best welds ever. Look at those terrible welding, which will have no doubt of you can actually see evidence of heat around slightly different shade of rust on the chassis there. So obviously heat's got into the chassis there, so that's going to need looking at, sort those out. But again, like everything on this thing, it's sortable. The good thing is the chassis, other than those bits that I've just spoken about on the rear cross member, the chassis is good. It's rusty, but it's flaky. And if I show you on I don't even know what these bits of the chassis are called. This big box section here, there's actually still some paint there, which has come up after a little bit of a scrape. I'm going to, while I've got everything off, I think it'd be really, really stupid if I didn't do the A-frame bushes, this big ball joint that locates the rear axle there. It'd be daft not to do those while it's in this state. So that's all. I'm going to do all that. Brake pipes. You look at the brake lines, the brake unions, and that's all rust. There's no brake pipe left there, so it makes sense to do that. Um, there's a couple of things. I've had to cut the fuel lines. That's there because they were actually routed up and over this beam, which is put in when these lockers are fitted. I think these lockers are probably fitted by the army after the vehicle is delivered to them, or perhaps by a company that converts them for the army. Because what they do, they fit the lockers and then they must slide this beam in, which slid underneath the fuel lines and then bolted onto these points here on each side of the chassis. But then that means when you lift the body off, the fuel lines are in the way, so you have to cut them or remove them. It just made sense to cut them. I'm going to replace those. I think I'm going to replace those with hard lines rather than plastic, because they've been bodged at the front already. by the bodgy engine fitters. So yeah, more bodges uncovered. That rear cross member is bad. I'm not sure. Maybe if it's a cross member off a Series 2 or Series 3, because it kind of matches that profile. The Defender one should actually have, rather than coming flat here, it should go up at an angle. See how the bumperette there has got an angle cut on it? Every Defender that you see, the rear cross member is angled. This one isn't, it's straight. Non-standard, but the plan is to just make it strong and sound and not bother with originality, because who cares? 40-year-old Land Rover now. There's not many knocking around that are original. I'm not bothered about restoring it to its military specification. I just like it to be usable and perhaps have a nod to its previous life. Bulkhead, little bit of work on the bulkhead. The replacement bulkhead's been done. We've worked out that it's had a corner replacement already, and you see the wells down there. So that was hidden with filler, and they've not done a horrendous job of letting in that corner section, but what they didn't do was put any reinforcing through these two holes here where the windscreen mounts. There should be sleeves that go through there, so the windscreen mounts solidly. This one didn't have that, so there's some tidying up to be done there. We've exposed the crap. There's a crap repair around here, and some pretty a little bit of nastiness on the door post there. This is where the check strap for the door mounts, but again, all sortable. And the footwells aren't so much of a drama. We're going to modify this one. Remember in another video I talked about the clearance for the turbo, so the plan is this is the passenger side footwell. We're going to modify it with a cut across down basically, and an angled section that goes down to clear the turbo in effect. If you recall, imagine that bulkhead, footwell, sorry. So this is the original, that angled section there, to allow for clearance around the turbo and changing the starter motor if you ever needed to without having to take the engine out. So plan is from now the chassis is exposed and I've got everything visible, which is really good. Can you imagine trying to paint this with the body on and trying to get to the rust? You just won't be able to do it. And all of those jobs that are easy now or relatively easy, undoing these horrible nuts and bolts that hold the shock absorbers on, all corroded. Imagine trying to do those with the body on. You just won't be able to. It'd be awful. So I'm going to do all that. I'm going to get the back half of it done, probably pretty much up to the sort of middle of the gearbox here, to allow me to, once that's all done, drop the tub back on, if not temporarily then permanently back on, and then concentrate on the front end, which is, as I've already spoken about, engine out, gearbox out, sort the bits that need sorting. For me that'll be the nicer bit. I don't like scraping and painting and scraping and painting. That's not my favourite thing to do, but it needs to be done. I'm looking forward more to getting stuck into the mechanicals and getting those up to scratch. But hopefully when it's done, it'll be a good solid truck with plenty of life left in it. Just looking up at the tub itself, there's not a lot wrong with it really. It's a bit muddy, apart from these cross members here that are designed to support any weight in the load bed. This one has gone through. You can get them, they're available as replacements, and they're only riveted in place, so I'm going to change those, just do a little bit of making good there. Everything else is okay. These lockers, I don't know, I might actually take those out and change the fixings, because they're riveted in place. You can see rivets up the hinges there, they're just riveted in into the body. Maybe unbolt them, take them out and just clean them and put them back in with fresh fixings, or I might just leave them. How far do you go? The plan is to get it initially certainly sound, clean, rust free, and looking good underneath. I kind of want to keep it as it is on the outside, certainly for the time being, because I did originally have a plan for a colour and a bit of a inspiration, which I'll flick on the screen now. It's a lovely looking thing, but that colour, as lovely as it is, it's almost been overdone now. And while that was my initial plan, I think I'm going to leave it in its horrendous broom painted paint with its many layers, certainly in the short term. Get it back on the road, get it reliable and usable and using it, and have a think about the colour scheme. There is something else possibly in the pipeline, with some inspiration from another Land Rover that I knew many years ago, which is on my mind, and I'll do another video about that at some point. But that's where we are as of Monday afternoon. I'm going to go home now and have a shower because I'm covered in rust and dirt, and we'll come back in the morning and make a start on this chassis. That's it in terms of an update, and thank you very much for watching again. Please like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Thank you.